This is one of our videos which is called Experiences in Medicine. One of the things which are important is that we want to talk about the insurance system in the United States. One of the problems with the insurance system in the United States is the fact that it is archaic. Why? Most of the system was designed years ago when paper was the way documentation occurred in the United States. That means when a patient was seen, a note was written on a piece of paper which went into something which was called the chart, and then this paper was a record of the fact that a visit had occurred by a patient to a doctor. Often enough, the paper over time, because it was written on ink, may degrade, and eventually it may not show exactly what you wrote over time. And because of that, insurances were given the leeway to not pay for services rendered by a doctor if those services were not submitted in a timely manner. This is a law that is archaic and should not be in existence. It's like me going to Macy's and buying something on credit, and because Macy's did not send me a bill on my credit card bill, and they send it to me 90 days late, and I'll say, no, I'm not going to be paying for it after the service has been rendered. It sounds ludicrous, but it is that ludicrous in the system that exists right now. In this modern day, documentation is done on computers, and in fact, the record is permanent, forever. And therefore, there's no reason for that rule. That rule should actually be gotten away with. Why? Because the insurance always has access to that encounter, and there's nothing compelling that will in any way affect the ability to process that claim, whether the claim was submitted a year or 2 years after, as long as the record is valid, can be seen, and can be documented. It in no ways impairs the patient, it doesn't impair the insurance company, but it actually impairs the provider. And this law and this regulation should be gotten away with it. Now, this is just a small part of what we want to talk about. It turns out now in 2021 that the only reliable payer that pays consistently within 10 working days is Medicare. That means you submit a clean claim and in 10 days you get your payment. And in this, we even praise as if it's a great thing. So common insurances in New York that typically are pay late include Empire Blue Cross, Health Insurance Plan of New York, now called Emblem Health, Aetna, Humana, and these are insurance plans that often enough billers have now assumed, especially the Medicaid managed plans, particularly notorious Fidelis Healthcare Plan, Affinity Healthcare Plan, are being allowed to continue to have subscribers despite the fact that they notoriously pay their bills late. If I, in this modern day, write a check for my employee on payday and a check is presented, the check is cashed immediately, meaning that there's no reason where those days where a check is written and it will be 5 days later. And that's because the world has changed. So therefore, there's nowhere where a check is presented in a financial system where people's checks are held for 5-7 days. So the same way, insurance should be modernized. It means that as soon as a claim is a claim is filed, because the claim are no more paper claims, they are all electronic, there's no reason why even the government, Medicare, should spend 10 working days to pay a claim. You have access to the chart, which can be sent automatically, electronically. The service can actually be sent, and just as the bank system works effectively, there's no reason why that payment cannot be done immediately. To make it easier, terminals can be sent in every doctor's office that every Medicaid recipient or Medicare recipient can have, or insurance recipient can have, making the insurance card not a piece of plastic that is useless, but a piece of plastic that is activated. That as soon as the patient comes into the office, he activates that patient has been seen. And that terminal ascertains the fact that that person is insured, that person's insurance is active, and there's no need to waste time on eligibility or finding out where the person is authorized, because that card that the patient brings in is actually a smart card. And as soon as the visit ends, once the card is scanned and the actual visit is documented, the payment should be available in 48 hours. So often enough, patients complain about, they can't get to see their doctors, or the doctor just treats them like, it's a 10-minute visit or a 5-minute visit. But the bottom line is that the insurance are not paying for those services. And in fact, sometimes those services may not be paid on the 3 months after. So there's no way in which he enjoins the doctor to want to see the patient, because the insurance, which has become a third party, has now become a factor that interferes in the normal patient-doctor relationship. And one must believe that the powers that be, which is the politicians, are aware of this, and this system should be changed, and should be changed in 2021.